Now, the magical tradition, you've got various different magical traditions here. On the one hand, you have the kind of ceremonial occult tradition, which actually emerged out of monasticism. So this is the book tradition, the grimoire tradition, right? The magical book tradition, and they actually originate amongst monks in the monasteries. Those monks, some of them going down into places like say Italy or in the Byzantine era, going down into Constantinople or into Greece. You've also got on the other side of Europe, people going down to Toledo or in other Spanish, Islamic Spanish areas and learning Arabic and learning from the scholars of Islam, ancient Greek, and Arabic treaties, right? A lot of history to it there. It's huge, like it goes back 2,000 years. But basically, you have these magic books that start to filter in. These are spirit books. These are guidebooks to how to conjure spirits, how to conjure angels, how to conjure demons. And for many, many, many centuries, it was monks and people who had the ability to read that were doing. Now, what happened was eventually starting in the 1400s with the printing press being introduced. Suddenly you had the ability for instead of manuscripts that had to be handwritten, a lot more dangerous to keep because they had to be handwritten, a lot rarer. You suddenly had books that could be produced very, very quickly. Now, astrology in Europe at this time was seen as a science, and this is across Europe, like all areas of Europe, even east, west, south, north, wherever, right? It doesn't matter. Astrology was seen as a science because the medieval worldview was that anything in the world could be looked at and you could glean a sense of God's intention. That's a very Catholic way of looking at it, but also Eastern Orthodox view too, right? And so you already had this idea of supernaturalism. You also had precedents from the Bible, particularly Solomon, King Solomon, right? King Solomon's legend is that he conjured spirits and control over them in order to build the temple of God, right? The second temple, or the first temple, I should say. And this was his way of honoring God, doing God's work, while also commanding demons to do it.